And we're back after a brief break, the second half of South Texas Crossfire. This is Attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KTMV with the Lopez family. Special thanks to Don Humberto Lozano Lopez. He passed away in 2011, but he's honored, he's venerated, he's never forgotten. I've got the honor of bringing on two gentlemen that are great assets to the community, that have done so much. And when you talk about public servants, a lot of people do self-service, not public service, not these guys. And I wanted to come on and congratulate, first of all, we've got the Commissioner, Joe Gonzalez, and we also have a special guest as well. That is my good friend, Judge Bobby Balderas. How are you, Judge?
How you doing, Counselor? How you doing?
Commissioner, how are you? How are you? Yes. First of all, congratulations on your victory, and let's talk about that. People hadn't heard since. It was a great, almost like a fairy tale ending. Just to recap, you were attacked by a very good political analyst, in my estimation, that goes negative, and they tried to put you in a failed attempt. Try to paint you with the same brush with some guy who may have had some legal troubles. And luckily, your supporters turned it around. You turned it around. On a very rainy, cold day, you campaigned in taquerias. You went in RVs. I'm surprised you didn't jump from a plane. But anyway, what's been going on the last 3 months?
You know, Joe, it's been going great, and I'm continuing to work in the bench, just catching up on the cases, and then trying to, like I said, I'm trying to keep up with the cases because the people want to be heard, and that's one of the promises I made, so they can be heard in a proper time manner, and that's what I'm doing, Joe. And like I said, it's a nonstop, you see, and I've still been involved with the nonprofit organizations, and it's not I'm sitting there or doing anything. I go out there to these nonprofit organizations, try to help them out. I'm still trying to raise money. They come over, and I try to help them out, Joe, as much as I can.
Sure.
And that's one thing. I don't like to brag about this. It just I like to work with these nonprofit organizations and stuff. And another one that's coming up pretty soon, I know, Commissioner, is Ms. Bazan. He's having her AC air conditioners. They usually raise funds and stuff like that.
It's going to be a hot summer.
For the seniors. And that's one thing I told Ms. Bazan that I wanted to get involved because we need to take care of our seniors, Joe. And it's real important. They take care of us. They take care of us. Now we've got to take care of them.
I think last year they gave away 24 air conditioners to seniors that didn't have any air conditioners or any kind of ceiling fans or whatever. But they did an awesome job. But right now, I just want to pray for Ms. Bazan because she was very ill and was in a rehab center and she was supposed to be released, but she's going through some hard times, and we just want to keep her in our prayers. She's a person that's a shaker and a mover, and I mean, I hope that I can have her energy, when I get a little bit older in a couple of years, I guess. But she is, I tell you what, passionate about helping not only the youth but the seniors also.
And our prayers go out from the station and from here for Ms. Bazan. I know firsthand the last decade and change how she affects seniors, how she affects the young, and she was one of the pioneers that, with you, with Education is Our Freedom,
sure.
Judge Balderas, an early contributor to that. Let's catch up with you a little bit. State of the county, what's going on with you in your world? I know that you were a former JP. You know the heavy burden that Judge Balderas carries on his shoulders. Let's talk about your burden.
Well, as far as right now, Joe, we're starting a new budget year. So that's going to be interesting. We've already asked all the departments to submit the requests for budgets. We're going to probably next week we'll start reviewing, starting getting together. First meetings start next week, going over some of the budget issues and items and see what we come up with. And also, of course, the tax issues are going to come up again. And, we're waiting for the kind of an update report from the appraisal district to let us know how everything looks on the taxes and evaluations. And from there, we decide what kind of tax we're going to keep, whether we keep the same tax rate or we go to the effective tax rate, or all depends on what the appraisal district provides us and where we're going from there.
Well, it's going to be interesting now that, and I don't what's done is done, but we have a new commissioner in there. Commissioner Chesney will be in there. I want to see how he votes on taxes, since he won on saying I will not raise taxes, and my opponent did and really beat that drum. But when you're in there, it's and he likened it to being on the city council.
It's not just his opponent that voted, but I think that we all voted for the same thing, which is to keep the same tax rate. They went up because the evaluations went up.
So it's not you guys raising it; it's the evaluations.
The appraisals that went up, and so the taxes went up to some of them.
Yeah.
We could have gone another route, probably the effective tax rate, and would have lowered it down. But at that time, we wanted to make sure that we had enough money to be able to provide whatever we need to provide for the county, for the employees, provide them, with the roads and bridges that we need to do. So, sometimes you bring a little money, extra money, but you have to use that money where it belongs. We had to pay $86,000 to the state for the new 69 corridor. That's part of our commitment.
When is that going to happen?
This is the second payment we give them, and so we committed to give 4 payments. So no, it's already rolling. I mean, there's already started. It's coming down. I know if you go to George West and through, there's already that corridor 69 is going through there already. So it's coming this way. And if you go down to the valley, I was in the valley on the conference this past weekend. They're coming from Brownsville this way.
Oh, good.
So it's coming, and in fact, if you go to Bishop or Kingsville, they already started working there in Kingsville. So the bypasses are being worked on already. So I guess everything will be coming down our way pretty soon.
From a judge's perspective and your budget, Judge Balderas, I know that there is going to be a little shaking up in the county commissioners. Sort of oversee that budget. What would you like to see? What is the most important thing in your area? I know you have a big precinct. Yes. What would you like to see appropriated for? I know that you handle everything from towing issues to the youth. What do you see as an inherent need in your area?
What I need, Joe, is what I need is really another full-time employee, because it's growing. My area is growing, and like I said, I have 3 right now, but I have 2 part-timers we have to split.
But it's Cal Allen.
And it's Cal Allen. You're talking about Toloso. You got the west side. You got all the way up to Everhart in the North Beach area. It's one of the biggest precincts, really, in the state of Texas, because they only have 2 counties in the state of Texas that has 3 JPs in 1 precinct. And we're one of them, and which is 2 at the courthouse and 1 on the northwest side, which is me. And like I said, we get a load. We got a pretty heavy load out there picking up in Toloso and the calendar, and it's growing, Joe. It is really growing out there towards the northwest, and it's almost meeting with Robstown. That's how big it's growing.
Well, and now we're having the outlets that I'm hearing about coming, and the 3 factories. Commissioner,
hopefully,
can hopefully, because we've been hearing that for years. Let's talk about certainties. People out there that are watching, I know I've heard people. There's a lot of confusion. Who's coming? What factories? What jobs? I've heard guys out at the base. Are we going to get hit with any closures? Knock on wood. Would there be other jobs and factories opening up?
Well, as far as you mentioned the outlets, and it's been extended one more time until 2015.
Oh boy.
So that's not a good report, but people need to know that it's been extended one more time, and reason. I don't know if that's a good reason or not.
And not to knock Robstown, but why Robstown? A lot of people in corporate say, why do we have to go to the Country Peddler out in Robstown? Why do we have to go to all these events in Robstown?
And one of the reasons is that it's probably more affordable. You try to deal here in the city, and it's big.
American Bank Center,
expensive. Big bucks, it's expensive, and so and then they try to move things around to see where it works the better, where you draw the most crowds and all that, but.
Not to knock Robstown. My dad earned a great living out there for years as a teacher.
You remember that fairgrounds belongs to Nueces County.
That's right.
Robstown. It belongs to Nueces County. That's our facility. And whatever revenues come into the county. So don't go to Robstown. It comes to the county.
Comes to the county.
So
thank you, cotton pickers.
So we need to do whatever we can out there. The as far as other businesses coming into town, Chenier is one of the big industry coming in.
What do they do?
Natural gas industry.
Okay.
And it'll be import export, and they're going to hire probably about almost 2,000 people to start off with. And once it's built, it'll be anywhere from probably from say 800 to 1,000 permanent workers. You got MG, the plastic company, does plastics. And they set shop right there by the port, and they're also going to be an import-export.
And where are they MGs from?
I don't know exactly where they're from, Joe, but
European, Italian.
It's another country, and I don't remember where, but they're
coming in and investing different countries.
Yeah, and they're looking also at about 2,500 at first at construction sites, and then once they're built, they're looking at about maybe 1,000 jobs. You got the pipeline company, the TCPO pipeline company, by Gregory Portland, which is a Chinese pipeline company. They already broke ground too, and they're looking about 2,500 jobs doing construction, and then probably at the end of construction, anywhere from 800 to 1,400 jobs. So, and then you have the another company that coming out of it's in Ingleside, and you got Valero expanding to another section of Valero. That's going to bring in more money, some more people, more workers. And Citgo's expanding their company. So all this, you're looking at thousands and thousands of jobs doing construction, but also thousands and thousands of jobs after construction. And this is why it's important that we, and the main thing to ask is, do we have an educated workforce? Do we have an educated workforce?
Well, I was going to turn to that.
That we can hire, because they want to hire welders that are certified. They want to hire pipe fitters that are certified. They want to hire electricians. They want to hire skilled laborers, that are certified. They want to hire people with CDL licenses. They want to hire with people, they're crane operators that are certified. And then, of course, this is your labor pool, your construction and your skilled workers. But also, the jobs from the office, accounting and personnel and all those other jobs that come, operators. And so, and this is why it's important that the people from this community understand that education is the only way to go.
Well, we're going to take a break here, but very quickly, Judge Balderas, in your area, I know you got West Side, you got a diverse area. What are you seeing as far as the job rates, the people there? I mean, the economy in that area.
What I'm seeing, Joe. I talked to some of the principals in Toloso, and they explained to me that within a couple of years, that area is growing, Joe. They're expanding the high school. They added to the high school, and they're expanding. They got about 3 or 4 schools, elementary, primaries, and the middle school, and it's growing. He says, well, Judge, you be expecting within a year or two, the growth is going to be pretty big, because they're expanding. Tolosa is really expanding, and like I said, they're adding to these schools, because it's a wonderful school like any other school district. But Tolosa it's an all-year school, and people are just moving towards that area and going to that independent school district.
That's what I hear.
And I hear it's a real good independent school district and stuff. But they were telling me, says, Judge, they made a study that they're expecting about additional 2,000 or 3,000 more students. And stuff.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be real big, Joe. So that's what I mean. It's the area is growing. We're getting more truants. It's a shame these kids don't want to go to school. But like I said, it's there for them, Joe. And I'm trying to convince them. And like I said, I give them the option. If they don't, when you start talking to some of these kids, they're seniors. They're almost there. And I'm giving them an option. I said, well, you don't want to go to school, or do you get your GED? I said, oh, no, runner.
They're too big to be spanked.
Exactly.
So you got to do something.
So it's an eye weakener. I say, you know what? And I say, they bring me a diploma, Joe, and I'll dismiss the case. I want to see that diploma.
Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're bringing this home, because I'm getting to a point here, is education is our freedom. Both these men and myself are deeply entrenched. We're going to pass on the word on what's going on this month with Education is Our Freedom, and what we're doing year-round to educate our workforce when we come back.
Education is the foundation of a home.
Success is about achieving what you dream of achieving.
Education is our freedom. They came in and they gave me some money, and that was, a big help.
I would like to say thank you for making my dreams come true.
I would not be in college if it were not for the Education is Our Freedom Scholarship. It worked for me, and it will work for you.
And we're back after a brief break with JAG 24/7, your commissioner, nonstop. Even if he's at the ranch, he's got the cell phone on. And also, we've got on my personal hero, Judge Bobby Balderas, the conqueror of his precinct. And now, seriously, we're going to be talking about education. We talked about the Chinook plant. We talked about the TGFO. We talked about all these jobs that can be created, even as many possibly as they have at the base or that they have at Spawn. It'll be a big job developer. But how do we get an educated workforce? And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Commissioner JAG, Judge Balderas, we're going to talk about education of freedom. Let's start with out with you, Commissioner. Tell us a little bit about why you helped, along with Ms. Bazan, help form Education is Our Freedom all those years ago.
Well, like Judge was talking a while ago, the dropout problem wasn't a problem; it was an epidemic. I always call it an epidemic. The truancy, the dropout, it's an epidemic. We have so many of our young students, young kids, that for some reason or another were dropping out left and right. As a judge back then.
And what are we talking about? How much percentage?
Well, I would, to me,
At least a third?
in my opinion, I would say we got about 35%.
Oh, wow.
That's a big. I mean, it's people don't want to accept that, but unfortunately, we have it. You ask them about school district, they might tell you 15 or 10, but believe it or not, citywide, countywide.
If a third of our students got flu, there would be a wide panic.
Right.
But we're having a third dropout rate, and there's not a wide panic?
I know. There's a panic, but not a panic.
We need a panic.
Yeah.
Hold on. Give me a red
We need
button.
a panic button, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But back then we were always talking about the problem, and one day I said, you know what, we need to stop talking about the problem and find some solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is not the solution, it's part of a solution. And back then I decided in 2005, I asked the students, I said, why do you want to drop out of school? Well, I'm bored, or you know what, I don't like school, or I don't like. I said, well, I'll give you an option. So you go take your GED and you get it in 5 months, I guarantee you a scholarship. And like their eyes will pop up and say, you're going to give, after dropping out, you're going to still give me a scholarship? I said, yeah, but you got to get your GED.
Which is not easy to do. A lot of people think, I've read the curriculum myself, and if you don't brush up on that math, the algebra, the geometry, you're in trouble.
And reading, believe it or not, that reading is hard too.
Reading comprehension.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and it started that way with 5 scholarships, and then we went to 15 scholarships, and then to 26, and, then went to 40 scholarships, and, and we created a monster, which was a good monster because we were keeping students in school or getting their GED versus dropping out completely and no education. But they were going to college too. They were going to Del Mar. Then we got Temu CC, Temu Kingsville involved as partners with Del Mar. The Crest Training Center got involved as partners with us. So we were sending all the students to different areas of education, vocational, academics. And I keep hearing all the time from the city and the county and that we need to promote education. Education is so important. We need to educate our workforce.
But talk.
Yeah, but and you're right. I'm going to say talk because I try to get the city involved in this thing, and it's so hard. They have not really jumped on board with this program.
What about the mayor and the city council?
Well, I invite them every year. They get letters from me every year, but there's no response. And
judgment.
But I hear them talking every time they do a what do you call it? State of the county, state of the cities, whatever. Everybody talks about education. Everybody talks about what we do.
But we need to. The rubber
put
hits
the money
the road.
Put the money where you.
I know that Councilwoman Riojas tries.
She is.
The mayor I know has her heart in the right place, and the other council people. But I'd like to see them more at the forefront this year on Education is Our Freedom.
Well, that was a topic.
We're calling out to all the city councilmen. I know Chad is running, and he puts his money where his mouth is. I was
Yeah.
going to say, Chad McGill, if anybody pulls the lever, pull it for Chad McGill. I'm telling you, this guy, maybe we'll even see him as mayor someday. He really cares
He
about.
cares, and you know he's been out there with me at West Oso. He's been out with me in the community.
He has his heart in the right place.
Lilian Rojas has gone out there with me also, and see some of the things that need to be changed. We got a newcomer coming on board, Lucy Rubio. You know that might be be probably
Lucy, and
You know.
she's a newcomer. I mean, she has been in this community, and everybody always says
Right.
when people run, well, what have you done? Where have you been? I know in Judge Balderas' campaign, he had 40 years to back it up. And why do you? I mean, I know before the break you said as a JP you give them the option too. And from a playbook page, because Commissioner was a judge too.
Right.
When they come to you, what are you seeing in your area, which is one of the biggest precincts? Are you seeing a third dropout rate?
Yes, Joe. I am seeing quite a bit dropouts, but what I'm seeing also, and what I'm trying to bring down to the principals, because the principals are the truant officers out there, and we got some, and which is Teloso. And what I do also, I talk to these principals. I said, look, I notice these people, they have a good average, or they're kind of slacking off a little bit. I said, have you all evaluated them? Had somebody come and talk to them, a professional? Because sometimes they might have a learning disability, Joe, and they don't pick it up. And these kids, they go to school and they don't pay attention to them because this kid has a disability, learning disability. And they need to be evaluated, and work with them. Because CCID works with them. Some of these kids get to evaluate them, but that's what you need to do. Also, evaluate a kid not only just because he's not coming to school. A lot of times they make fun of him because hey, you don't understand. You're not learning nothing. You're a dummy or something. They make fun of him. That's not the point. Sometimes this kid can't comprehend.
I agree.
So they need to evaluate them. And see what's the problem is. And they say, well, they continue, and I'll get the parents, and I'll get them to a counseling or something that maybe both of them need to go to discuss why they're not communicating with each other. You see, and the mothers always say, well, I drop them off. I understand you drop them off, but it doesn't hurt to make a phone call to the school, to go out there, make a surprise visit. I said, I have my kids when they were in high school. Just because they're in high school, that's when they need you. I used to drop off on them, and they say, "Oh, the judge." No, I'm not here because I'm a judge. I'm here as a parent. You need to go check on them, once in a while, and they appreciate that when you're going out there because you care. Well, that's my understanding.
This is where character comes in, and recently in El Defensor magazine, your past opponent hit a pot shot that the commissioner, me, the three Joes were in support of you. That we all ganged up on him. And the thing is, the election's over. Let's get on the program and work as a team in the community. And I'm tired of seeing people that, because of petty political strife, you chose to run. If you lose, get over it and start helping out. The reason I supported Judge Balderas was because I knew there was a good man there that was going to help the whole community and our youth, and it was going to be about public service, not self-service. Those who want to run because they have an agenda for themselves have no business running, and they need to mature, and they need to take a good look at themselves before they put the name on the ballot. Let's get back to that.
Joe, and I know good point. You made some good points there. But let's talk back about Education is Our Freedom. It's a program that there's no such program as that in the state of Texas that I know of, that opens the door to.
But why?
Well, maybe.
Is it because
people have not gotten involved enough, or people don't want to take that extra step and get out of the box and say?
Well, we're not paying for it up front, Your Honor.
I know we're not.
And that's why I say the leaders. It all ties in when we elect somebody. Right. When we elect you. I mean, you don't just you didn't leave your robe at the door at 5, and you didn't leave your commissioner hat at the door. You carry your phone. Judge Balderas carries a phone. I've called him at 10 at night. Oh, he signs warrants at 2 in the morning. You've done it, okay? Mm-hmm. And so it comes down to that. All right, so it ties in. It does tie in. The politics ties in. Okay, so when you vote for somebody, why are we not paying for it up front? I mean, not everybody can be Shakespeare, but we sure do need some welders, pipe fitters.
Oh, yeah, we need.
So who can we contact at the Craft Center? A young person's out there listening to us guys that are getting up there. What can they do? Pick up a phone. How do they get involved with a scholarship, GED? We need to really push this.
They can. Squares call in the Craft Training Center. They can call Mr. Sandrusi. They're at the Craft Training Center.
Sandrusi.
But if they can't have a problem, they can call me. And I'd be glad to work 24/7 to guide them and give them the right direction. This year we have 7 going to the Craft Training Center from our participants. We have right now we have 15 going to Tamu CC. We have 10 going to Kingsville, and we have the rest of them, about 39, going to Delmore.
It's amazing.
He said we're going to give away 70 scholarships this year. Out of those 70, Joe, 38 are second and third year students. Some of them getting ready to graduate. And the rest of them are all first-year students, which is 42 first-year students. So we try to push them on. They get 2 years at Delmore, maybe 3. They finish Delmore, we will offer them 2 more years at Tamu. And because Delmore, Tamu, CC, and Kingsville are our partners now. So when we give them a scholarship, they match those scholarships. And then put them, and also look for, most of them qualify for a Pell Grant or a Texas Grant or some kind of other grant. But there are a lot of other scholarships out there that some of the students do not know about. And the good thing about our program is that we don't only give them a scholarship and here you are, we'll see you next year, or is that we maintain a contact with universities throughout the year. And if one drops out, we know who's dropping out and why. And then we contact them and find out why. Maybe we'll give them a second chance, or maybe we'll give them a third chance. Who knows? But sometimes
it's unbelievable.
It's what they need, And our program is not only a scholarship program. We do scholarship for testing fees. If a student takes a GED, cannot pay for the testing fees because they're not $130 now. We'll pay. Delmore will call us and say, "Will you approve this voucher?" And then I'll send a letter to them and say we approve. The committee approves the voucher. They'll give them a voucher to go take the test at no cost to them.
Well, I mean, ladies and gentlemen out there, 960-6312 is a magic number too. And Mr. Sandrusi, or is it Mrs. at the Craft? Mr. Sandrusi at the Craft Center. We've got a few minutes left. Judge Balderas, why are you a sponsor all these years, year after year, with Education is Our Freedom?
Like I said, the commissioner, when I became a judge, I got involved with this program and stuff because I also sent people that got the GED to Commissioner Gonzalez, and he has gotten them scholarships for them and stuff like that. And that's why it's real important, because these kids, when they come to get the GED, they can't afford it. They can't afford a scholarship or anything like that, or go out there and apply for a grant. Some don't know how to do it and stuff like that. But the commissioner, he has this program that he kind of directs them. That's why I work real close with the commissioner. Like I said, I have some people, and I'll send them over to apply for these scholarships and stuff. And it's, like I said, it's real important, Joe. And that's why I said, got the opportunity. That's the main thing. And another thing before I go, Joe, is I just want to thank the people that made it possible, and that came out and voted for me. And especially, Joe, you were a big asset to me. You're my advisor. I appreciate that. And all my family, they were there for me.
They're wonderful. Your granddaughter and your grandkids were my advisors.
Yeah, and they were there.
They were good.
They always been there for me. And like I said, and it's a shame they had to go through a lot of stuff, hear a lot of stuff, negative. But like I said, they were always behind me.
Well, and it was well worth it. I never saw such a wonderful family come together. They all banded together and said, now wait a minute, this just isn't about the judge. Our Balderas name is being hurt by negative campaigning. And you came back in, and now the proof is in the pudding. You're helping Education is Our Freedom. You're trying to keep these kids off the street with truancy. You're working with Toloso. So the proof is in the pudding.
All of the school districts.
All of them. And then West Side. Exactly. And then all your precinct area. And Judge, Commissioner, you're still helping with Education is Our Freedom. We got 2 minutes left. Well, how do the other people, sponsors, get involved? City councilman, the mayor.
We have a lot. We have about 30 or 40 sponsors. We have table sponsors, scholarship sponsors.
My wife and I.
Your wife and in fact your wife and you in sponsoring a scholarship.
Dr. Ruben M. Garcia. We're gonna go ahead and
be recognized. We'll be in memory of one. But let me tell you that their major sponsors, Joe, that makes this really happen is everybody. It takes all of us to make it happen. Your scholarship sponsors, your table sponsors, your bronze sponsors, your silver sponsors. But we have major sponsors,
which are going to be shown up on your screen at the end of the program.
We got AP Texas. We have Radisson Hotel.
Rick Patel.
Rick Patel. We have the Chenier Company gets on board. The new company jump on board.
Good.
Education. We have.
So many.
A lot.
AEP has been there.
It's been there since day one.
Lillian Riojas' company, Flint. Is it
Lillian Hill? We're working with Lillian right now to hopefully Valero will be one part of
Valero, forgive me.
But Citgo is one of our major sponsors.
Well, we need to keep Lillian in there, and for you all, whether you pronounce it Riojas or Riojas, whether you're on the South Side Island or whatever, pick up the lever for her. She's a wonderful lady, and she really cares about the community. And Chad McGill and stuff.
And
Am
Chad,
I endorsing people?
Chad's one of our sponsors too, and so is Judge and Judge Santana.
Aquel blue eyes, Chad McGill, el güero chiva.
But Joe, these people, the sponsors, not only have talked the talk and walked the walk. That's what we need for everybody else to do. Let's not just talk about it, during campaign time. Let's do it.
Pues como dijo el amigo mío aquí, al dicho, al hecho, hay mucho trecho.
Judge Longoria has been one of our sponsors, Joe, for 10 years.
One of the most feared judges in the county, but he's a real sweetheart. Let me tell you,
he's a super guy.
He's a super guy. The minute he does a great job, and that's why he's been elected again and again. And some people don't like his rulings, and he says, "And what's your point?" He does his job, and that's why we love him dearly. And we like you guys to come back on. Education is our freedom. Let's get the information.
The banquet's coming up on July the 16th.
July the 16th. This is going to air for the next 4 weeks, and I'm going to air it after July 16th. You know why? Just start gearing up. The minute that banquet ends, we start collecting money again. And ladies and gentlemen, somebody, a good friend like Scott Mandel, that's another guy we didn't mention. Scott, major. And he was a major supporter of you on Facebook.
And Scott, and also
the Delmar region, Gabe. Oh my God, Rivas came out for you like you wouldn't believe on Facebook. And we combined Facebook and we combined
let's
TV
not forget
and radio.
LMV and Lineberger. They come out. They're one of our sponsors.
Tony. Big
Tony Mantilla. So we again, Joe, this is the people that I said that make it happen. It's not us. We're the ones. We're the ants. This is the people that really make it happen because they're investing. They're investing in our future. They're not giving money away or saying we're going to. They're investing in our future to make sure we have an educated workforce. It's partners working together to educate.
Now, one last question. We've got 30 seconds left. I have a good friend of mine that is an air conditioning guy, and he has Rapid Air. And then there's another guy that is a real good friend of mine, Rick Carrion. And he says, I got 2 daughters at Incarnate Word. He goes, I wish there was a scholarship there that Education is Our Freedom would help us that make $40,000, $80,000 a year and bless us with a scholarship. Don't we give away some scholarships to people that are non-GED?
We give away 13 scholarships a year to graduates of the current year. So and this year I think we might have given 14 because they were so close to each other.
I want to go back for a 5th degree. Can I get one?
Well, Joe, this year we're sponsoring 2 clinics for math for students because we're having a big problem with math. So some of our sponsors like Citgo and Chenier and Raytech, one of our newest sponsors, Mr. Greg Reyes, Raytech Inc. Construction. He said, if you want to sponsor those, let me know. I'm with you. And we're going to have 2 clinics free to our participants so they can go learn the math before they start school. Wow. It's kind of like an entrance math for college. So, and they're going to be required to attend those. It's a requirement that we're going to have for our participants to go. So we're not just giving away scholarship. We're in there involved with them. We follow them through, and we make sure that we have 39 graduates in the last 4 years from University of Kingsville.
That's fantastic.
TAMU CC and Delmar. One of our students, Joe, real quick. One of our students, Xavier Carranza. Hopefully he'll make it to the banquet.
Xavier Carranza.
He came back, graduated. He's an engineer. Got hired by Baker Hughes. Came back and says, Commissioner Jack, I want to give back. I want to sponsor a scholarship by myself.
The guy, Xavier,
Carranza,
Carranza.
sponsoring one of the scholarships to help somebody else out. You know,
Wow.
he says, I'm working for Baker Hughes. They're starting me at $70,000 a year.
Congratulations, Xavier. We're proud of you. Dave already gave me the signal. We got 10 seconds left. 960-6312. We're out of time, but thank you. Get involved. Education, 960-6312. If you want to go back to school, call.
Education is the foundation of a home.
Success is about achieving what you dream of achieving.
Education is our freedom. They came in and they gave me some money, and that was, a big help.
I would like to say thank you for making my dreams come true.
I would not be in college if it were not for the Education is Our Freedom Scholarship. It worked for me and it will work for you.